Hey YouTube, it's Black, here with an update to the second iteration of the Shinra Sylvan deck profile I put up earlier, which is also now Flower Princess Turbo, because I found out these are the best tutors for that archetype. A lot of things have changed because I've realized a lot of things and found out a lot of things weren't working or they were slowing the deck down. Deck is still huge, still trying to find ways to cut it down, but this version right here is the version that's been working the best for me at the moment. It's got the addition of Blade Fender plus a couple new traps. So let me run through it and I'll explain why certain things are in there and why things have been taken out. So starting off, we have a Titaniel, one Thalea, 2 Spirit Trees, 1 True Behemoth, 2 Blade Fenders, only 1 Flower Knight now, 2 Leaflows, 1 Twilight Rose Knight, 2 Rose Archers, 2 Lone Fire Blossoms, 2 Crane Cranes, a Dandy, a Spore, 2 Peas, and 1 Copy Plant. Spell lineup consists of this 1/1-for-1, a Mind Control now, Dark Hole, Foolish Burial, Book of Moon, Forbidden Lance, 2 of them, only 2 Super Solar Nutrients now, 2 Miracle Fertilizers, now 3 Sacred Sylvan Peaks or Sacred Mountain of Shinra, 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulse, 2 Fiendish Chains, now 3 Call of Haunted, and 1 Solemn Warning. Extra deck is pretty much the same with the addition of Queen of Thorns, Cowboy, and Ancient Fairy Dragon, which can also be swapped out for Formless Synchron. Now, the reason some things have been added, 2 new additions in the level 8 lineup is -1 Spirit Tree, and added a Thalea and a Titaniel. Thalea and Titaniel are in here to solve 2 of the biggest problems I was having with this deck. Because I was losing mostly to mass removal cards after I had my setup, and the fact that I kept losing the cards that target my cards. Titaniel and Thalea solve those problems. Thalea keeps my plants protected from card effects, and Titaniel stops them from targeting. Now, if these get stuck in my hand, what do you do with them? That's where Sacred Sylvan Peak comes in handy, because it can top deck any Shinra card while also filling my graveyard with plants. Meaning these 2, if they ever get stuck in hand, become fodder for Call of the Haunted. Therefore, eliminating the problem of me having to normal summon these cards or having to go through the trouble of actually getting Lone Fire to hand to summon these cards. So yeah, it pretty much solved a lot of my problems. 2 Spirit Trees now because 3 was a little too cloggy. Realized there were other level 8s, the Flower Princesses pretty much fit that profile I needed. Even though he's your draw engine, I can even recommend you cutting this down to 1 because you're only ever going to actually summon 1, and 2 if you fancy. And the 1 you do summon, if it doesn't get bottomless or compulsed, can always be spammed with Call of the Haunted. Blade Fender was probably the thing this deck needed. It's basically a free addition to the hand if it's milled by Peak or any Shinra card, and it's just another level 4, and it's got 100 more attack than Flower Knight. Even though he only gets the effect after he destroys a monster and then he excavates a card, he's pretty much going to be able to get over anything, level 4 or lower, unless it's just really, really crazy. Plus, he combos very well if you were able to get Spirit Tree out first turn, and you send a plant to top deck Blade Fender with Sacred Sylvan Peak, and then you activate Spirit Tree's effect, it reveals Blade Fender goes to grave, Blade Fender goes back to hand, and you drew a card from that. So basically you went +2 off of 1 card. Flower Knight is now at 1 because Flower Knight really doesn't facilitate anything out of the deck besides being a terraforming for the field spell. It's not really that great in my opinion. It's got 1800 attack, which is really nice, and it's a level 4, something this deck desperately lacks. So I do think at least 1 is needed, because just in case you can't get your hands on your field spell, this will top deck it next turn for you if it's revealed. And also Knight Samurai. Cool, isn't it? Leaflow has been cut to 2 because Leaflow is a really bad normal summon. Even though it's got 1500 attack, it's got a nice body, it's a bad normal summon, even though it does reveal 2. There are a lot of monsters that actually can get over this card, and it really sucks when you have to summon this thing and you reveal nothing. So I think no more than 2 is necessary. You can easily keep them in the deck, and they're easily searchable or top deckable with Sacred Mountain of Shinra. And I actually swapped it out with 1 Twilight Rose Knight. Twilight Rose Knight is your opponent has an effect of your opponent cannot select a plant type monster as an attack target And when it's normal summon, you can special summon a level 4 or lower plant from your hand. Basically meaning he tutors any of these plants other than your level 8s. He tutors Lone Fire for really, really sick Lone Fire plays. He tutors Dandy, he tutors Spore, he tutors Peas, Copy Plant, and these Leaf Flows if they're ever dead in your hand. Allowing you to go into easy level 6s or rank 3s like Queen of Thorns or Sirius the Blue Wolfstar, or Zen Mains if you need it. Also, this is an easy 1-card Black Rose, which I like, so I decided to stick one in there. Now, Rose Archer completely took MST, completely took Stoulette out of this deck. Stoulette was nice for that first turn set if you need it, but I'd rather rush my opponent with cards I need. MST wasn't doing it for this deck really. Forbidden Lance pretty much covers my spell coverage, spell protection coverage, and Rose Archer picks up the slack when I run out of lances. And for those of you who don't know Rose Archer, her effect is during either player's turn when an opponent's trap card is activated, if you control a plant type monster, which is pretty easy to do in this deck, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard and negate the activation if you do destroy it. Basically, it secures normal summons for your Shinra monsters like Bladefender, Knight, and Leaflo, and also stops cards like Mirror Force, D-Prison. The only thing she does not stop is counter traps, which you actually need another counter trap to stop, but she covers a wide enough range where I think she's necessary. Plus she has great synergy with Crane, allowing you to go into melee with this card. So yeah, she's pretty awesome. I'm really hoping she comes in Legacy of the Valiant. If she does, I can actually do something with this deck. If not, you have to add, I think you should add 1 MST and maybe put Mithra back in the deck, because Mithra gives you a little more flexibility than this card because it is a tuner. No explanation for these cards. 2 Lone Fire, absolutely necessary for this deck. Crane, easy level 6s and easy rank 3s. Dandy, why wouldn't you play Dandy? It's a plant deck. Spore, same deal. Only 2 Ps now because drawing this card sucks ass, and I'm sorry, it really sucks ass to draw this card, because if you don't have Super Solar Nutrient to immediately get rid of this card, you're pretty much stuck with a level 1 monster with 400 attack and face up attack position, and it sucks when you have to summon this card. So 2 keeps it low, lessens your chance to draw this card, and allows for some really crazy plays with Sacred Mountain of Shinra. Copy Plant is in here because Copy Plant copies any level and can go into rank 4s, 8s, 6s. Basically, he's your flexibility for the deck. Mind Control, because this deck actually is a little bit more synchro focused than it was before. Mind Control is just a good card for synchroing and XYZ. Super Solar Nutrient was cut down to 2 because when I revamp the deck, I don't really play that many level 2 or lower plants anymore besides the 3 Ps. Well, the 2 Ps, the Spore, and the Copy Plant. So it does help solve that problem when you do have to normal summon Ps, but you don't need more than 2 of this card so it doesn't get stuck. 2 Miracle Fertilizers now, because now that I play 3 Call of the Haunted, this can get cut down to 2. Saving me a lot of time and space and allowing me to use my normal summon actually if I need it. This card is actually so much better than I thought it was because it gets rid of plants in your hand and on the field to do some really, really nuts plays. If you have Flower Princess stuck in hand, you can discard it, Call a Haunted it back, and then still have something top deck for next turn. Since it goes off during your opponent's end phase, you can top deck Leaflos, you can top deck Peas, you can top deck Bladefenders, just to make sure you have stuff for next turn. This card is really, 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 really good for this deck. I'm really mad at myself that I was not playing 3 earlier, because with all the field spells running rampant nowadays, more than likely you're going to only get 1 turn utility out of this card, and you have to make that 1 turn count. And more than likely your opponent is not going to let this go off on their end phase, so they're probably going to end phase MST it. So it's really good to have backups of this card just in case you need it. So I do recommend 3 now, and I apologize for only recommending 2 earlier because this card is really good for this deck. The finishes were added because this deck needed effect negation because it didn't have any. I don't want to run Veiler in this deck. You can run Veiler if you feel like. It's all up to you. But Fiendish is just there for effect negation. Call the Haunted is probably the most important card of this deck because you will run out of resources really fast, and you will run out of level 8s really fast. Call the Haunted helps you recover some of that lost ground by allowing you to get anything back from the graveyard, like your Spirit Trees, your Princesses, just any random level 4s, and especially these Lone Fires for really insane plays, and Warning because it's just good. Queen of Thorn was added for decks that rely on multiple summons or spamming the field with monsters, because you can force your opponent to kill themselves with this one card. Cowboy was added because there's really no other good rank 4s that I want to run in this deck. You can add Exciton Knight if you want, but Exciton Knight is bad for this deck because you will normally have too many cards on field for you to plus off an Exciton Knight. Plus, you won't really be making rank 4s that often, seeing as you only play 3. Well, seeing as I only play 3, and Copy Plant has to copy a plant. Ancient Fairy Dragon was added because this card is really good with the Shinra Peak. You can Twilight Rose into this card, then activate Peak. You draw a card. If your opponent has a monster in the field, you can just pop that monster and go for 2100 attack. And as you can see, side deck, absolute mess. Side deck was just things I was trying, things I took out and left in there as reminders just in case I want to put them back. There's that third Spirit Tree. You probably will need to side one Leaf Flow just in case. I'm keeping Mithra and the Naturia Synchros in the side deck just in case I do have to have a game where I play against something like Prophecy and have to go into the Emergency Beast, so it's actually pretty easy to do. I honestly don't think you need Stoulette anymore, because Stoulette really doesn't serve any utility of the deck other than that first flip, and popping one Speller Trap is nothing an MST can't handle. So honestly, I don't really think you need Stoulette anymore. That's just my opinion. You can take it with a grain of salt. That's just me. There's that third piece just in case I need it. Fairy Dragon is actually a placeholder for Formula Synchron at the moment while I'm testing it, because this deck can go into an easy first turn Shooting Star Dragon. Once again, don't ask me how that works because I don't know, it just happens. So if you don't want to play Ancient Fairy Dragon, just play Formula. Plus there are times where you'll be stuck with Dandy Tokens and Spore, and you just need to free up space, so Formula is just an easy level 2 to go into. Like I said, Exciton Knight, the Terraforming, just in case you only want to play 2 mountains. The third Miracle Fertilizer, Mark of the Rose, which is a great card for this deck. Pretty much takes anything it wants, and then you can do whatever with that monster. 1 TT, and Breakthrough Skill and third Fiendish, just extra effect negation. So that's pretty much the deck. Please take this with a grain of salt. Legacy of the Valiant promos are still being revealed. I don't know what will come up. Maybe we'll get another Sylvan promo. Maybe I'll have to change this deck again, but right now this is what's working for me. If you want to test it out, go ahead. If you want a basic blueprint, the basic blueprint is 2 Lone Fires, Dandy, Spore, 2 Spirit Trees, 2 Blade Fenders, Narcissus, 3 Leaf Flows, and 3 Peaks. That's the basic blueprint for the deck. So if you want to take that and run with it, go ahead freely. Please let me know what you think. And once again, thank you all for watching. Stay black, and I will see you next time.